Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are talking about dealing with failure and learning how to pivot. So, I think we are all familiar with the idea of it's not about how hard you fall, it's about how hard you get back up. Failure teaches you more than your successes. We hear all of these things, but one of the really important parts about failure is your reaction to it. And it really isn't about the level of failure or what you learn from it. It's about what you do after that. And that's where pivoting comes in. And pivoting is basically learning from a situation that might not have gone the way you thought it would or the way you wanted it to. And it's taking that knowledge that you've learned and applying it to something that might succeed even better than what you'd initially thought you were going to do. And so pivoting can be as easy as, oh, you fail a test, but there was a part of the test that dealt with logic or something, and you just nailed that one part. You failed everything else, but you nailed this logic part. And then you go, oh, well, maybe in that case, I will pivot to something that is totally involving logic, that encompasses that. And that's a good example of pivoting, when you find out oh, I'm actually really bad at fishing, but I want to be in wildlife conservation. I like being outdoors, I like doing this stuff. I suck at fishing, but I'm going to do this. Pivoting is often the result of an unexpected thing that you've learned from failure. It usually comes in and you're feeling low, you failed at something, you've done something wrong, you haven't hit the mark or the target, but you go, hey, even though I failed, there was this really interesting aspect to what I was doing. There was this really interesting aspect to everything that was going on. Maybe I can look into that a little bit more. And I have to be so honest with you guys, I have pivoted a lot in my life. When I first started going to university, I thought I was going to be in engineering. I was going to be an engineer. And I found out that really wasn't for me. And I switched to business. I switched to pure science. I was doing a whole bunch of different things and sort of bouncing around, failing at this, doing that. For a while, I thought I was going to be an accountant, and then I took some higher level accounting courses and absolutely turned me off of that so fast. But at one point, I decided to take an anthropology course just because it filled a requirement. No matter what degree I was going to get, it was going to fill this requirement. And I absolutely fell in love with anthropology and archaeology and cultural history, which is essentially what anthropology is, if you're not aware. And that allowed me to pivot to what my degree is in now, which is anthropology. And so it was this crazy ping pong ball effect where I was bouncing around, failing at this, not doing this, didn't have the aptitude to do this, didn't have the desire to go and do this degree. And suddenly I pivoted and I found what I really like, and I was really good at it. I really enjoyed it. I had a passion for it, writing essays and doing research and, running archaeological labs, things like that. I really, really enjoyed it and really fell in love with what I did. And so that is a great example of this pivoting, of this idea that, you might not always know where you're going, but that is okay because we are very adaptable. Humans can adapt to almost any situation. We have people living in Antarctica and in space right now. So we are proof that adaptability is probably one of the most important traits a creature in the universe can have. And pivoting is no different. Pivoting is simply changing your course, literally pivoting to something else, putting your focus and your energy and your heart and soul into something that you are more inclined to do, that maybe you have a greater passion for. It is so easy to encounter failure in your life and just stay there and go, oh, I'm never going to get this. This is awful. But you have two choices in that moment. You can either double down and try and make that failure into success, take what you've learned from your failure and push even further to hit that target, or really think carefully and thoughtfully about why you failed, where you still excel in this thing, and can you pivot to something that is applicable, that is similar, that has some of the characteristics that you're really good at, but none of the bad ones. Um, some of us really excel at math naturally. Others excel at language. Others excel at history and memorizing facts and dates. Um, and so it's part of your job to either improve the areas where you feel deficient, or to specialize and focus and pivot on the things that really bring you joy, that you're really good at naturally, that come intuitive to you. It's just a fact. Like, there are just people in this world who don't even need to study for math tests, and their brain works like the clockwork and they get it done. I am very envious of those people because I have to work very hard to be good at math. So I decided to pivot, and I am very good at writing essays and sort of research, historical research. So anthropology and history was kind of a no-brainer for me. It really works. It's where I'm happiest. I really vibe with the whole way of doing things and the academic labor that goes into it. And pivoting can be, like, it doesn't always have to be some great decision of your life, When you have the most minor of inconvenience, it is okay to pivot. It is okay to decide, oh, hey, I guess this little thing wasn't for me, or, maybe I'm gonna try something new. And that's an element of pivoting that is really important, is the willingness to try something new, the willingness to go out on a limb and experiment a little bit. I think a lot of people that need to pivot, that really, like, clearly this ain't working for them, they need to switch gears and go in a different direction. I think so many of them are afraid of more failure, afraid that, oh, I'm just gonna look wishy-washy, and I'm always changing, I'm forever changing, that looks bad, people are gonna talk. Listen, I changed my university specialization about 6 times. At the time, I was terrified that my parents and my friends and my family would see this as me not knowing what I wanted to do. But guess what? I didn't know what I wanted to do. So it was completely fine to just change. And I sampled different things. I sampled engineering, I sampled business, I sampled science. And I found out, hey, this is not what I want to spend the rest of my life doing. So it is totally fine to pivot and explore new things, as long as you can have the courage to do that. I think so many people are really scared to, and it's difficult. It can take time, it can take money, it can take a lot of your emotional and intellectual energy to pivot to something different or to try something new. But just like if you're working out at the gym, you have to try new things, or you'll just never pick up that different weight or get on that different machine. And the problem with that is you might develop one part of your muscles really, really well, but if you're not trying everything else and you're not using your other muscles, they're gonna atrophy, and then you're gonna look really, really strange. You're gonna be one of those people at the gym that doesn't do leg day, and they've got this huge upper body and then, like, chicken legs. So you need to be able to get out there and have the courage and the dedication and the determination to pivot, try new things. Variety is the spice of life, and not care about what other people think. That was the biggest thing for me, is I was so afraid of trying different things and then getting criticized for it, or having people in my life just say, Jax, like, why aren't you settling? Why can't you just pick a major? Like, come on. And it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that simple. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have this set idea of, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher. And so I really had to grapple with it. And I'm so glad that I was able to pivot to something that I truly love, that has made me a better person. I have been able to apply it to my business and what I do for a living. It's made me worldly. It connected me with people that I consider great friends of mine that, I wouldn't have met otherwise. So that pivoting is so important, as long as you can have the courage to do it. And I think, especially after a failure, pivoting is a really important thing. You know, it is so important to take something with you from that failure and go, hey, you know what? This totally failed. This totally blew up in my face, but I learned something about this, or I learned something about this element that maybe I want to try better. Maybe I want to try it again. Maybe I want to totally shift. Instead of making a cake next time, I'll make a soup. Who knows what it is? But as long as you have the courage and the dedication to pivot, I don't think you're really going to hit a dead end. You're not going to hit a brick wall, because you have that adaptability to say, oh, here's a brick wall. I'm going to try climbing it. And suddenly you're into rock climbing and bouldering, and you've met these people that you love, and you get to go to beautiful places all around the world. You never know, you know? So that is my 2 cents of advice for today. I hope it finds you well. I hope you're having a beautiful day, week, month, year, whatever you're having. I hope it's beautiful. Let me know what you think about pivoting, dealing with failure, getting back up, getting back on the horse, to use another metaphor. I think I've used quite a few today. So yes, once again, thank you guys so much. Hope pivoting goes well for you. I'm constantly pivoting. I'm constantly trying to evolve and adapt, and I hope you are too. So that's all I've got. And as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow.